Hello, everyone. Welcome to Eat Coffee with Experts. I'm your host, Matt Fraser. And on today's show, I have with me Dan Maudhub. Dan is a multi-award winning entrepreneur and the founder of Wonderful, a leading digital creative agency. He has worked with some of the world's largest brands in developing game-changing campaigns and content, and has developed successful strategies across a range of industries. In addition to his agency work, Dan is a mentor and advisor to many tech incubators, a regular keynote speaker, and the founder of the Wonderful Foundation, a not-for-profit organization supporting sustainability and community projects globally. Dan, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, no problem. Hey, Dan, this is kind of like my signature question. How would your university professors describe you as a student?
Oh, gosh, that is a terrible question for me to answer because I enjoyed the fullness of my university experience, but I would say a good portion of that was outside of the lecture room rather than in the lecture room.
So you had a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun. So my degree was in business economics. It's a dual honors degree. And you could definitely see I majored more on the business side. I loved the marketing modules. I loved the sales modules, innovation modules. I'm an older, middle-aged man now, should we say. So this is pre-Google, pre-real sort of growth in the web technology days. So we were learning about the basics of coding and what this internet thing could be. And it was all very formative. And yet economic side, I really enjoyed understanding the econometrics, the maths of economics and that side of things, which has really helped me in my career. So I loved uni. My professors would say, could try harder.
Okay. Can you tell us about your background and how you got started in the digital creative industry?
Yeah, so I started working in web in the early noughties. I was the head of sales for a web development company. So building big systems here in the UK. We were building retail systems in healthcare. So very much at that kind of heavy coding end of the spectrum. So I was going in, working with clients and helping them to try and understand how to match what was, I'm talking more than 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
How to match their client needs with online technology. And it was all so new. So there was a lot of innovation and a lot of invention. There was a lot of kind of scoping things that didn't exist, trying to understand how to get HTML to work properly and how to connect onto servers and all stuff that we're so far removed from now. But that was my formative years. I was fresh out of university. I had a couple of sales roles in London. I got asked to come work for the web agency just outside of London. So I got into heavy tech quite early on. And then what happened is I realized that a lot of my passion was really helping entrepreneurs to know how to fuse creativity and technology. How do we reach audiences? How do we engage customers with creative campaigns, creative thinking, but using tech? So I ended up starting my own agency. It was more of a consultancy to begin with. I'd go in and consult brands, and we were teaching about Google before most people knew about Google. We were talking about, I took a lot of what happened in the American model with buzz building, brand building. I was reading a lot of books from your side of the pond and just really understanding the mindset and trying to bring that into the UK market. So what ended up happening is over time, the clients would say to us, can you do this? Can you deliver this? Can you do this web page? Can you do this video? So we ended up naturally forming into an agency. My background's always been bringing that creative thinking, that creative energy into a technical environment.
So how do you approach developing creative strategies for your clients?
Oh gosh, that's a big question. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing we always say to clients is it's not so much what you want, it's what your customers want. So you've got to put yourself in the mind of the customer. One of Steve Jobs' famous quotes is always start with the customer experience first and work backwards to the technology. Yeah. And we find that particularly in today's world, a lot of people want to adopt the new technologies, the latest social channel. Let's talk about Web3. Let's talk about metaverse. Let's talk about this.
This is
and then
amazing.
Get so hooked up on the technology. Yeah. They haven't worked out what their customers want. What's actually going to engage your clients? What's going to engage your customers? So I think a real starting point for everything we do is putting ourselves into the mind of the customer. And what that means in our world is not so much just who they are and what they're doing. That's the basics, but take that step further. Who else are they listening to? What's your competition? What's causing them inertia? I always talk about inertia in marketing. You're putting all these messages out. You're trying to hook them in. You're trying to reel them in. You've got top of funnel, middle of funnel content, but they're not responding. Why aren't they responding?
Why aren't they responding?
Do we know why? What's the research? What's the data say? What's happening in the competitive landscape?
Yeah.
I think, there's a lot more emphasis in my not bugbear, but one passion of mine for my own clients is understand your customers. Get out of the white towers, get out of the ivory towers and get into our customers' shoes. And that's the place you generate good campaigns from.
It is so critical. Like, I have talked to so many entrepreneurs and marketing professionals, and how clients, it's the same. It's amazing how critical it is and how each of us knows this, but clients don't. Dan Kennedy, in his book, The Ultimate Marketing Plan, talked about how the 3 M's of marketing: market, medium, and message. And he says, everybody always wants to focus on the medium. They just want to jump in, and you just talked about it. Web3, Facebook, Google ads, that's the medium. They just want to jump in and throw up a message and shoot at anything that moves and hope that it's going to work. The hope and pray method. Rather than taking 2 steps back, figure out who is your market first. Who's your market? Who is it? Who is your customer? What are they doing? What do they think? Everything about them, their whole entire persona. And then what is the message that you're going to say to them? Because now you know who they are. You know what problem you're trying to solve. You know the pain points. You know how they think, all of these things. And then you can take your message to the medium.
Absolutely.
And I think those things. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, sorry, Mel. I was just going to say, I think in a world where there's so much technology and there's so many different platforms, and there's the temptation to start a TikTok channel and get on TikTok and to start this and start that, because it's the easy route to market, but it's not always the right route to market. I learned this early on in my career when I was doing the buzz building side of things. As I said, I'm talking pre-viral, pre-Google, pre-YouTube. We'd go to events, and you'd go to an exhibition, and typically in the UK, every exhibition stand looked the same. It had a table, it had chairs, it had pull-up banners, and it all just looked grey and beige. It all looked the same. Now, someone had a smarter logo because they had a green logo rather than a beige logo. But it all looked the same. You could go into an exhibition and you would see 50 stands that look largely similar. So what we did is we said, what are customers doing when they come to an exhibition? They're doing one of 2 things. Either they're window shopping, and they're just going to walk past your stand because they're just window shopping and seeing what's out there, or they're actively looking for something. There's a reason why they left their offices or left their homes, come to this exhibition, taken it down to the office. There's a reason why. So we started to work with clients to say, understand who your customer is and engage with them outside of the stand. So we used to run guerrilla marketing campaigns. We used to run world record attempts. We used to run stunts. We would do anything that didn't draw attention to our stand, but drew attention to the brand, that actively engaged customers where they were at, rather than expect them to come to my stand and all of a sudden buy from me. So it was a very different mindset. It's a customer-centric approach to marketing and comms. And that stood me in good stead. I was a much younger man then. That really stood me in good stead to understand whatever channel you're on, understand your customer, understand their motivations, their pain points, their fears, their desires, and make sure that you can speak into that place.
So what are some ways, Dan, that brands can do that? Find out who that information. How can they build a customer persona?
Yeah, I think there's so many ways. I think the first piece is, if you're a brand that's been trading for a while, you've got customers, talk to them, get some qualitative data, get some quantitative data. So what I mean by that is run some workshops, but then run some larger surveys. Ask the right questions, ask open questions. Be okay with negative feedback. Be okay with, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are we doing here? What are things you'd like to see? It's incredible. And it's leans a little bit into the innovation curve. Is that you need to get feedback and analysis before you can make any change. And so one of the key things with understanding customer personas is to ask the current customers and then to segment. And it's such a powerful thing, segmenting. We all want to have the ideal customer. I call them the type A customer, those with all the budget, all the need, all the desire in the world. But that's not reality. Only a certain portion of your customer base is a type A customer. So who's your type B and who's your type C? They've got different different mindsets, different approaches, So customer segmentation isn't just a paper exercise, something you do and you download a template off Google. It's so valuable. Your customers are the lifeblood of your business. Talk to them, engage with them. And the other thing, one of the biggest questions I love in customer segmentation and customer profile building is, who else would you recommend us to?
Shut the front door. That is such a great,
to me, such a powerful question. Because your customers are then telling you who your future customers are.
That's so smart.
So just simple questions like that really can change the game for a marketing strategy. All of a sudden, your marketing strategy moves from being theory to being market reality.
Absolutely.
And if you're in a startup environment, it's you do the pitch deck, you do the lovely profiles on your deck, slide 12 of the deck is customer profiles, but they're not real. You made them up. So you have to go and test. You test, refine, test, refine, test, refine. So I think customer demographics, audience profiling, persona development is an ongoing journey. It's not something you do once in the pitch deck and then you don't revisit it again. You do it month in, month out. Analyze the CRM data, analyze your analytics, analyze where they're coming from, find out as much as you can. The data becomes a real driving point to this whole process.
Absolutely. What do you think about like leveraging customer service departments and your customer service representatives to leverage that data and to harvest that data?
100%. But also, I think marketing isn't so much just what you put out; it's how you engage. It's a two-way process. And obviously, there's a 360 in that, isn't there? That marketing is at every single touch point of the customer experience. So when you've got a customer service team, as long as they're asking the right questions and feeding back in the right feedback loop, it all should inform your marketing strategy. All should inform the emails that they send afterwards and the engagement piece and the referral piece and the loyalty piece. All of that is linked around customer service. The marketing's not just winning new customers, it's retaining current customers. And I think, again, so many marketing strategies we see are all about new customer acquisition. You put 90% of the spend there, only 10% in retaining and growing current customers.
It's amazing. I was at the dealership working as the marketing director, and all they cared about was new customers. Right. And yet they'd been in business for 10 years. They had a database that they could have sold to existing customers and doing like campaigns to sell the existing customers. As you and I both know, the most expensive part of marketing or business is acquisition of new customers. The easiest thing to do is to sell an existing customer another product. And it just baffled me that I couldn't get them to think that way, to just start investing in campaigns that would trade in campaigns, like targeting people who had 4-year-old vehicles and get them in on a test drive. Like they were just competing for the same customers that everybody else was. And it was very frustrating, but it's so amazing how you talk about that, how it's knowing who your customer is and all of those things. It's so key and critical. You've worked with some of the biggest or world's largest brands. Can you tell us about one of the most challenging projects you had and how you overcame it?
Gosh, that's a big question. And that could lead into a counseling session. I think one of the biggest challenges we have, I'll make a general comment and then drill down to a couple of specifics. I think alignment in marketing and comms is huge. So what do I mean by alignment? Aligning teams. So often when you're working with global teams, they're in different countries, they have different objectives, they have different perspectives, different viewpoints, different cultural realities. Yeah. So aligning that into a single campaign or a single strategy can sometimes be a challenge. Even, for example, if you're talking about a website project, we had one recently with a big consumer brand. They're number 2 in their category in the UK. I won't name the podcast, but they're a baby food brand, large in the UK. They were largely a retail brand, an offline traditional retail brand. They wanted to do more with their digital presence. They wanted to do much more engaging customers and consumers online. But we were dealing with teams across Europe. So the way that the UK marketing mindset works is very different to France or to Belgium or Germany or to the Netherlands. So you're presenting to a client a single strategy, but you're getting 5 different perspectives back. So alignment is a huge thing in our world, to try and ensure that we're aligning people to the right central strategy And then the next stage of alignment, which we quite often have challenges with, is aligning with board, because board objectives are often different to marketing objectives. So a board
Yeah.
objective could be, we're looking at double-digit growth, we're looking at increasing the bottom line, we're looking at
Of course.
efficiencies, so on and so forth. Marketing, looking at bigger campaigns and the bigger this and bigger that. And so one of the things we try and do is we try and make sure that we build from brand, that we're building from the same essence, the same proposition, the same positioning, that we're all, one of the things that aligns all of this together is a really deep understanding of your brand. What is it that really makes you valuable and unique in the marketplace? How is it you're uniquely positioned amongst your competition? That's what creates cut through. So often we do a lot of brand alignment work. So we may start off with a website project, as I mentioned earlier, for example, with this baby food retailer. We start to ask questions about what really makes you. And you ask it at board level. The CEO tells you something from his or her perspective. The CFO tells you something completely different. The CTO is telling you that we're a tech-led company, and the marketing team are telling you they've got the best products in the world. Where's the truth in that? So actually, internal alignment is often quite a big challenge we have with larger corporate brands. And so we find that a lot of the work that we do and the value that we add is actually aligning internal teams, really helping them to really get on the same page with who they are, what they're all about, and where they're going, particularly if they're looking for growth.
Yeah, that's amazing. You touched on something which I refer to again, something I learned from Dan Kennedy is the uniqueness of the company, and he would call it the unique selling proposition. What is it that is identifiably unique about you that in the market that no one else that you are known for, that no one else can touch you, like your uniqueness. Sometimes he would tell you that it should entail a guarantee and a warranty. So like, for instance, Mitsubishi, they had a 10-year warranty on their engines, and their logo, their tagline then, whether this still is the case or not, was built better, back better. So it gave you the confidence in buying the vehicle that your engine was going to be covered for 10 years. And I don't know how, there's probably a limit on the mileage or the kilometers, whatever the case may be, but it was smart. So how did you uncover, just from the uniqueness of the companies in the marketplace, what truly did set them apart? Was there a framework that you use, or certain questions that you would ask, or how would that process look like?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's there's not a quick answer to it. I think there's always, like I always say, there's three sides to the coin. So I think there's your truth, there's what you want to believe as the brand. So we do a lot of workshopping and alignment. So what are C-suite saying? What are the marketing team saying? What are the customer service team saying? And then you then ask the customers, as we said earlier, what do you think? Why did you buy? What was your experience?
There you go.
How did you find that?
Yeah.
And then the third side of that is to align it with reality. This is what you're saying. This is what they're saying. This is what we think that this is the reality. This is what the data's telling us. This is what the customers are telling us. This is what you're telling us. And when you align all three of those, that's when you get a real alignment.
Wow. That's amazing. That somebody could take just that nugget right there and implement it into a process and have success. That's so smart. You're known for your passion for fusing creativity and technology. I'm just curious, how do you stay on top of the latest trends in both areas?
Yeah, it was a good question. And I think we have to, as an agency, put our own process in place. So for example, we have two Slack channels, one that's dedicated purely to innovation. So when our guys are researching things at work, when they're coming across articles, when they're coming across anything they see online, they stick it in a Slack channel. And so we've got a constant feed, a consistent feed of new ideas, new technologies, new platforms coming through. So it's part of our process. The other part of our process is internal training. So once a week, we take 30 minutes out and we call it something like, the meeting's called something like The Wonderful Thing. And we will just unpack something that for those 30 minutes. So it could be a new process. It could be a new piece of technology. It could be a new bit of functionality. It could be a new idea, but we're driving innovation from within all the time. So when our designers are coming up with something, they're aware of what technology is out there. When our digital marketers are working on something, they're aware of what technology is out there. So it's not just, we try not to do innovation in silos. We try and do it across the agency. So designers, developers, digital marketers, account managers, all of them are working together on that piece. And so they're all growing together. So it's something that fuels passion as well. If you're a developer, you're generally passionate about development and technology and all of that. So rather than just be passionate about that in your silo, stick it on the Slack channel, explain to people what's going on. And so also at the end of the week, we have a weekly wash up, and we say to our team, bring anything you want to that meeting. If you saw something cool, you saw a cool campaign or a cool idea, bring it to the meeting. So we're always trying to be open-minded about what else is out there. But also in terms of the innovation curve, look at the specifics that we can apply to our clients. Most of our clients aren't ready for the metaverse and its fullness yet, whatever that might look like.
It's so far ahead.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's great to know about it, but application-wise, we're not there yet.
No, we're not. Steve Jobs started working on the iPhone 3 years before the technology was even available to support it. So 3 years before he was working on it, for 3 years before the network was even possible. So I understand, like, one of the favorite quotes I have is on my wall here as a poster: vision is the art of seeing things invisible to others. I think as entrepreneurs, we need to, that's what identifies us. And we need to see ahead of the curve and see things. But I think Mark Zuckerberg with the metaverse, he's way too ahead. He's investing way too much money, way too soon. And if he's not careful, he's going to be called to resign because he's ignoring other things that need to be fixed. Like, you can't even do a threaded reply on Facebook Messenger. Like, it's crazy. There's just, I don't know. There's maybe that's the wrong thing I'm thinking about. There's certain things that on Facebook Messenger that you can't even do that I'm like, dude, you need to fix this first. Dude, you need to fix the fact that Tim Cook cut you out of the process with the Facebook pixel and put up the walled garden. You need to solve that problem. Forget about the metaverse. Put that on hold. Solve that problem, dude, because that's what's made you so much money. And it's almost as if you're ignoring it. And it baffles my mind, to be frank. I touched on that because you said, thinking ahead, but not too far ahead. His investment in the metaverse may never even come about. It may never even take off, like QR codes. Sure, QR codes are great, but they're not as great as everybody thought they were going to be. I think they're phenomenal, but I'm the exception, not the rule. I embrace technology like nobody's business, but I'm assuming you'd probably be the same way. I know we're coming to the top of our hour, but there's so much more that we can unpack. I would love to invite you to please come on for a part 2 of this discussion, if at all possible. But in the meantime, how can our audience connect with you online if they choose to do so?
Yeah, obviously the standard channels nowadays, LinkedIn is, please hit me up on LinkedIn. Yeah. On LinkedIn, we obviously have a company page called Wonderful. Hit me up personally. I have a newsletter that I put out once a month on LinkedIn, and where we're learning about things we've learned from our clients, from our guests, agency life. So try and add value back to our audience through that. So sign up to the Wonderful People newsletter. Website domain is bewonderful.co.uk. So you can find out some of the work we do there. But would love to connect with your audience. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn.
And you have a podcast as well, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so people can tune into that as well. We'll make sure to put all that information in the show notes. And again, I would love to have you back for a follow-up episode if you would.
I appreciate that. Love to do that.
Right on. Thanks so much.